You're watching Camnet TV. Welcome to our news. The headlines. Bill 10 debate postponed again without any reasons given. Police in Chinsali summon HH and Sesheke MP Romeo Kangombe. ECZ to set up close to 9,000 polling stations for mobile voter registration. In international news, Indian man who was mistakenly declared dead dies days after being put in a mortuary. And in sports news, MWAPE upbeat about 2020 COSAFA challenge. For the details, join me shortly after this break.
Msika is here. We have you all covered with just 150 kwacha. You can advertise every day from 17 hours to 18 hours. For a 30-second ad, get the benefit of selling your products and services on Msika. For more details, call our marketing department on +260 953 995099 +260 962 444-726 or +260 971 177 467. Email us on info@camnettvafrica.com. Terms and conditions apply.
With the details, my name is Liseli Kanyanga. Livingstone-based retrenched Zambia Railways Limited workers are dismayed that government has not paid their packages since 1992. Eric Jere, who is chairman for the former workers, some of whom have died, says his colleagues are now destitute as they can't even afford decent living. Efforts to get a comment from ZRL CEO Christopher Msonda failed as his mobile phone went unanswered. The retrenched workers are now calling for investigations leading to who transferred their benefits to other insurance firms without their consent.
The pain that left hundreds of former Zambia Railways Limited employees is still being felt by those whose benefits have not been paid for over 20 years now, following their termination of contracts by the company under the Movement for Multi-Party Democracy (MMD) government. In 2018, the Industrial Relations Court ruled that the workers who were retrenched in September 1992 be given their salary increments that were effected during the time because they had remained in employment until 15th November 1992. According to Eric Jere, who is chairing the Livingstone-based group of former railways workers, about 60 people out of the 300 retrenched workers are still alive, while others have died after the company was privatized.
Yes, there may be some that have not received. Yes, there may be some that are still crying out. But I have got confidence and I am sure that this government has got a listening ear. Now I'll give you the reasons why. They are not responsible for having put us in this misery. It is the MMD government that has put us in this misery.
Within Livingstone is Charles Simasiku, another former worker who lived in this unfinished house due to limited resources and has survived stroke on 3 occasions while waiting for his benefits, which is confident that could be paid by the current regime.
In our case, there was no need of us going to the courts of law as if we were criminals. We've got institutions like the labor laws, the labor officers, the institutions like within the companies itself, we've got a person, industrial relations managers. I don't see why in the olden days, I know very well, it was never heard of employees taking a company to court. It's a new thing.
The 71-year-old who worked for the company as an accounts clerk wants a commission of inquiry to be established to ascertain what led to the delay in them receiving their benefits, a move he says has left many people destitute despite their long service to the company.
Whether the head of state is going to push or to instruct what is due to us. And I know he's very understanding. The good part of it is that he's a lawyer, I understand these things. So I've seen a lot of other companies and other people have been disadvantaged, going through the end of state and they've been paid.
But Mr. Jere says while the ruling Patriotic Front regime and the President Edgar Lungu have started paying out the affected beneficiaries, there is need to investigate those behind the alleged scandal of transferring benefits from one insurance company to the other without consent from the victims.
Me, myself, went into the office of the business executive, Mr. Chamuka, and they told us, sorry, your money was withdrawn by Zambia Railways. That is a theft. The privatization issue must be pursued without segregation. Everybody else must account for that. And so all that has been added to the misery of these people.
Efforts to get a comment from Zambia Railways Limited Chief Executive Officer Christopher Musonda proved futile as his mobile phone went unanswered on several occasions. For now, time will tell if the alleged culprits will be brought to book as the victims wait to receive their terminal benefits, with the government pushing to expedite their payment process.
Transparency International Zambia TIZ has bemoaned the weak tracking and record-keeping system within the COVID-19 response resource management mechanism, in that records from the source to the dispensing points are not adequate and not well integrated. TIZ Governance and Democracy Director Gilbert Mwanda notes that integrity weakness, a lack of real-time donations capturing and tracking mechanisms creates opportunity for falsifying or failure to capture all donations. And speaking earlier at the same event, TIZ Executive Director Maurice Nyambe has advised Zambians to be on the lookout and report any abuse of the COVID-19 donations, because they are meant to save lives and not to be personalized by few individuals.
Transparency International Zambia TIZ has advised members of the public to be alert and report any abuse of the COVID-19 donations, because they are meant to save lives. TIZ today, the 16th of October 2020, launched the COVID-19 project findings. The project, which started in July 2020, was effectively an advocacy intervention aimed at ensuring that COVID-19 response in Zambia is anchored on principles of transparency, accountability and integrity at all levels.
So the importance of guarding all resources that are being donated towards this fight cannot be overemphasized. And it is the responsibility of each and every one of us as citizens, as civil society organizations, as the media, and as government to see to it that these resources are protected. Protecting COVID-19 resources, in fact, means saving people's lives. And so in that regard, we have a moral obligation to do it.
According to some of the findings during this project, TIZ engagement meeting with the Ministry of Health under the Permanent Secretary Administration and Ministry of Finance under the Accountant General, it revealed that the two ministries were not giving information on specific record of resource management toward the COVID-19 response.
And one issue that was of interest to us was the announcement about the donations that were going towards the response to the pandemic. And our concern was the donations. We know that government resources are the system that manages financial resources, but we were concerned about donations. And so we thought it would be important to ensure that donations are accounted for, donations towards the response go to the intended purpose. And for that reason, we came up with a project that supports this event that we're having today, to specifically track the donations that are going to this response, but also the utilization of those donations.
TIZ has since urged government to put up a donation tracking record-keeping system into the resource management mechanism that will ensure that COVID-19 donations are recorded at both points of receipt and dispensing of the same, as it will easily track donations through the distribution channel. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
Government has revealed that a recent report by the World Health Organization (WHO) region for Africa shows an increased outbreak in the COVID-19 cases recorded. The health governing body also says Africa cannot risk recording further high cases of the pandemic, as this will adversely affect most African economies, which have already seen a devastating effect of the disease. Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary Kennedy Malama says the report shows an increase of 7%, while the death rate has seen an increase of 8%. Dr. Malama has since urged members of the public to remember that there are other infectious viruses that are transmitted in a similar manner as the COVID-19. Hence, it is important to see to it that precautions given by the Ministry of Health are being taken seriously. In the last 24 hours, the country recorded 53 new cases out of 3,529 tests conducted.
The government of the Republic of Zambia, under the leadership of the Republican President, His Excellency Dr. Edgar Chagwa, in its quest to balance between saving the lives of the people and allowing the wheels of the economy to run, has continued to cautiously monitor the situation. And as we updated earlier, this is what informed the easing of restrictions. As a response, we continue urging the Zambian people not to relent with the 5 golden rules. People have been asking, what's so special about COVID-19? As a country, we do have malaria, tuberculosis, HIV and AIDS, and many other diseases. One of the unique features with COVID-19 is that we continue learning globally, on the African continent, and as a country. We are still learning about this particular virus and its behavior. The cumulative number of cases for Zambia as of today is standing at 15,712 out of a total of 201,931 tests we've conducted since COVID-19 was confirmed in our country. In terms of mortality or deaths, as a country, we are standing at 346 people we've lost, whom we've classified as follows: 115 COVID-19 deaths. These are direct COVID-19, as we've explained before, and 231 associated deaths. So this is where we are standing. You see that the recovery for Zambia stands at about 95%, which is commendable. But for us, from the public health point of view, we need to save each and every Zambian life.
Civil Society Scaling Up Nutrition Alliance Country Coordinator Matthews Mhuru says the society is concerned with an increase in the number of people going hungry due to limited access to food caused by different factors. Mr. Mhuru explains that the CSO believes that making the food systems more sustainable and shock resilient is one way of making food available to vulnerable people. He says this will, however, require that focus shifts from maize-centered to diversified crop production that responds to changes in different climate conditions. He has urged the government to focus on crops that respond well in different parts of the country during the 2020-2021 farming season, as this will not only guarantee food security but also respond to dietary needs of the country. Zambia Friday joined the rest of the world in commemorating World Food Day.
As Zambia joins the rest of the world to commemorate World Food Day today, 16th of October 2020, which marks actually the 75th World Food Day celebration, we are making a call to government to really see how they can come in and support the vulnerable. So this year's theme speaks to growth, nourishment, as well as sustaining together. The focus is on the vulnerable people and just trying to see how they can be removed from that vulnerable situation. So for us as a Civil Society Scaling Up Nutrition Alliance, we're making a call to government to consider, providing seeds and just just agricultural support that really responds to the needs of the different areas. We are aware that our country, some parts are affected by floods, some parts are affected by drought, some parts are affected by locusts. But how can we have an agricultural system that really responds to all those shocks? We're also making a call to government to extend extension services to especially the places that are not doing well in terms of agriculture, that have received different shocks and vulnerabilities, so that the people in those areas are not left food insecure, but they can be supported to be food and nutrition secure.
Movement for Democratic Change, MDC, has distanced itself from sentiments that it has been formed to be a proxy of the Patriotic Front, PF, with the purpose of dividing the 2021 votes. MDC Secretary General Lucky Mulusa says the party is independent with values that are different from that of the PF and other political parties. Speaking during a press briefing in Lusaka, Mr. Mulusa disclosed that the MDC party is a group of individuals who participated in the governance system under the PF and were booted out for speaking the truth while others resigned. He adds that the party is confident of forming government in 2021 despite the short period between the launch of the party and the holding of the 2021 polls. Meanwhile, the SG has announced the appointment of a few individuals to the party leadership structures. These include Mutolo Piri as Chief of Staff under the President's Office, Chris Banda as Treasurer, and Sam Moyo as National Chairperson.
MDC has been formed not to fight any other political party. We are not fighting any other political party. All we are doing is we are trying to resolve the problem of why 5 million people, half of our eligible voters, do not participate in elections. Meritocracy in leadership, we are going to make sure that no single cabinet minister will be there on account of bootlicking. We are going to make sure that every single cabinet minister qualifies to be in that job, just like it is in the private sector. We're not going to compromise on that. And even ourselves, as you sit there, when you look at where we are coming from, we are people who rose to prominence out of meritocracy. The other one is the transparency, accountability, and zero tolerance to corruption. Corruption is very costly. The best example you can take is that of the fire tenders. The fire tenders were bought at $1 million. But insured at $250,000 US. It means that that is the true cost. What this means is that almost every government project is 4 times overpriced, meaning that even this infrastructure that we rolled out, it could have been 4 times. The economy would have had its reproductive capacity grown, meaning that the economy would have been able to repay the loans. But now we are unable to repay the loans because 3/4 of the expenditure never went to the project.
Vice President Inonge Wina has arrived in Eastern Province to officiate at the lined-up programs for the year 2020 National Day of Prayer, Fasting, Reconciliation and Repentance. While in the province, Ms. Wina is on Saturday expected to officiate at the groundbreaking ceremony of the Soils Laboratory under the Zambia Agriculture Research Station in Chipata District. The Vice President has since advised Zambians to honor God through prayer. Ms. Wina further says the day presents an opportunity to Zambians to pray for the country and its challenges.
I'm here to inspect developmental projects in the Eastern Province. This will include the commissioning of a soil testing laboratory, planting of some trees, because we know that here trees were claimed by tobacco industry. So we want to start replanting to resuscitate the forests that have disappeared. But the real national tree planting occasion will be done by His Excellency, the President. We are here also to visit some resettlements and to thank you, the people of Eastern Province, for contributing substantially to the food basket in the last 2019-2020 season. And we expect this coming 2020-2021 season to expect a bumper harvest in this province, because you are hard workers. So we only pray for good rains. I'm going to participate in the day of prayer here in Chipata, and this will be a very significant day for all of us to thank God for the many blessings that we enjoy, to thank God even for hard circumstances that we face sometimes. I look forward to being with you in the province.
Police in Chinsali have summoned UPND President Hakainde Hichilema and Sesheke Member of Parliament Romeo Kangombe for questioning. The UPND leader is expected at Chinsali Police Station on Tuesday, October 21st, 2020 at 09 hours. Police Friday evening attempted to serve the summon on the UPND leader, but junior officers were found at the party secretariat declined to receive the summon. The reasons for Mr. Hichilema's summoning are not yet clear, but the UPND is accused of having beaten police officers in the area as the delegation made its way from Kasama to Lusaka. We take our first set of commercials, but do stay with us as we have more interesting stories lined up for you.
On a sad note, I've just learnt of the passing on of my father. In Serenge, he was 95. But before I leave, I wanted to seek clarification from our Honourable Vice President as to what government is doing over the abduction of the policemen in Mchinga province and the trail of destruction that were left even in Serenge, damaging properties. Your Honourable Vice President.
Honourable Vice President.
Mr. Speaker, the abduction of government workers, in this case police officers, is very regrettable. And the abduction was carried out by people who are known party cadres. And some of them were even leaders who engaged in this exercise. The police officers were guarding the area, and then a convoy passed by, showing slogans of their party. And the people standing on the roadside who did not respond were beaten by this group of hooligans driving in a convoy. And these were UPND cadres. And 2 police officers were injured and their guns taken, and the ammunition taken from their guns and then sent away to tell their story.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
I have used Oracle Pure Glycerin for 2 years now. It has really worked for me. It has cleared all the black spots on my face. It has restored my skin beauty. It also smoothens the skin. Try Oracle Pure Glycerin for perfect skin. If it's not Oracle Glycerin, then it's not Pure Glycerin.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with the news. Vice President Inonge Wina has advised Zambians to begin trusting their own institutions of governance, such as the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ. The Vice President notes with concern the continued undermining of public institutions by some stakeholders, saying this sends a wrong signal and negative information to the outside world. Mrs. Inonge Wina said this in Parliament during the consideration of the budget estimates for the Electoral Commission of Zambia ahead of the 2021 general elections. The Vice President has meanwhile allayed fears among the general populace that ECZ may not manage to register its intended target of 9 million voters for 2021. Ms. Wina tells the nation that ECZ is equal to the task. As an institution, it intends to set up 8,999 polling stations for voter registrations countrywide. ECZ total budget to effectively carry out all its electoral programs going into the 2021 stands at 674 million kwacha, and government through the Treasury has so far released 325 million kwacha to the electoral body.
For the registration purposes, the Commission will utilize the online voter registration, mobile voter registration, static voter registration, and the pre-online is necessary, aimed at fast-tracking registration, and is optimal to submit online details. The Commission will service 8,999 polling stations in mobile exercises and 116 district centers. With this, the Commission only requires 33 people per day per polling station to meet the target. The issue of whether the 30 days are enough to register everyone, I think this answers it. The Electoral Commission of Zambia's vote is here to be supported by honorable members, and I request honorable members to have confidence in our institution, the one that we created here in the House, and to support the budget for the 2021 ECZ commission, October 2020. The total budget for this important exercise is 674 million kwacha. And so far, Treasury has released the sum of 325 million kwacha. This is commendable, and the Commission
But some members of parliament, among them Mwembeshi Independent Area MP Jaba Machila, has described the ECZ as a danger to the country's national peace and security in the manner it is handling the electoral concerns. The MPs accuse the ECZ of doing things their own way without the involvement of key stakeholders, while failing to take on board relevant advice being given to the institution.
That the Electoral Commission is a danger to the peace of this country. But they have been very inconsistent. They have been very inconsistent in the way they want to manage elections in this country. You do recall, a month ago, Madam Chairperson, the Electoral Commission, through the Chief Elections Officer at the Electoral Commission, held a press conference and told the nation that the current register of voters will be used, provided you go to the polling station and verify your particulars. That statement was made by the elections director. When the President of the Republic of Zambia came to this house, when he announced that there will be a new register of voters, the Electoral Commission of Zambia somersaulted like an F-16 and said that they are cancelling the register of voters. What inconsistency! What unprofessional conduct on the part of the Electoral Commission. How do you expect to register 9 million voters in 1 month when the regulations are saying you must not congregate in large numbers? How are you going to register the people in 1 month? As if that is not enough, Madam Chairperson, in the northern enclave of this country, Ruapula, northwestern province, is now raining heavily. How do you expect the poor peasants in these areas to rise and queue up maybe for 1 week to register?
The threat that the ECZ is a danger to this nation. How do these people come to parliament if the ECZ is a danger? They have lost squarely. All the by-elections that have been there, they lose because the ECZ is neutral. We have been losing in Southern Province, Western Province, and other strongholds because the ECZ is neutral. So let them not attack the ECZ to hide their own mischievous activities.
Parliament has continued to postpone the second reading of the Constitutional Amendment Bill number 10 of 2019. The bill, which was supposed to come up for second reading Friday, 16th October 2020, has now been deferred to the 29th of October 2020. Clerk of the National Assembly has informed the public and the MPs of the decrement without giving any reasons. In her brief announcement to members of Parliament, Ms. Mbewe advises the MPs to be physically present at the National Assembly building to facilitate the voting process of the bill. The executive has deferred the bill for close to 5 times now, an issue which has continued to raise questions on why the bill continues to drag on. Issues of the executive are not meeting the 2/3 majority threshold to pass the bill is another issue being looked into as the possibility of the continued deferment.
The last 1 minute to address the issue of Bill number 10. The same leader of opposition was telling the people and the nation that Bill number 10 is dead. And then he was even giving an example. It's in the ashes are in the Indian Ocean. So if Bill number 10 is dead, why do you want Bill number 10 to come on the floor of the House? So the inconsistencies you have been labeling on ECZ are also being shown on your face, Honorable Leader of Opposition.
Not on his face, not on his face.
I withdraw face. But I want to say, Madam Speaker, why were they telling the people that Bill number 10 is dead? And then from nowhere they are saying, well, why should Bill number 10 come on the 29th? Why? What is their interest? So if they had read Bill number 10, they would have noticed that they've trapped themselves. They want more constituencies, and the ECZ is the only institution that can actually recommend more constituencies. But because they don't want Bill number 10, they have actually trapped themselves, because it's not possible to increase the number of constituencies without amending the constitution. And with those few remarks, Madam Speaker, allow me to congratulate Honorable Mwimbu, the outgoing leader of opposition, for having demonstrated that come next year.
Your time is up.
Thank you. Thank you.
Movement for Promoting National Value and Principles, Chief Executive Officer Joseph Kunda has urged Zambians not to allow bitterness take over their emotions regarding Jishimba Kambwili's conviction. Mr. Kunda says the judicial system is an independent organ of government which needs to be respected on the sentence it has passed, and the conviction must not be a debate in public domain. He says inasmuch as he sympathizes with Dr. Kambwili's family and the party members, Zambians must realize that Mr. Kambwili still has an opportunity to be set free if his appeal goes through. Mr. Kambwili's bail application is set for Tuesday next week. The NDC leader has so far spent 2 days in detention following his one-year jailing by Magistrate David Semusamba.
Of course, I feel so bad, and when I learned about this matter, I shed tears, and I sympathize with his closest family members and his loyal supporters and members of the general public who felt aggrieved. But I wish to state this, that we need to respect the judiciary because it is an independent organ of the government. And when a decision is made by the judiciary, we should not politicize the matter. Neither should we allow such a decision to become a political debate that should be in public domain. For those who feel aggrieved, and especially those who are closer to the leader who is in incarceration, I wish to remind them of what was stated by the State Counsel, Musa Mwenye, at the court soon after the judgment was pronounced, that after confiding in the leader, President Kambwili, a resolve was made that a bail application would be initiated. That being the case, it remains the jurisdiction of the court to exercise its leniency by considering the request that is being made by the convicted leader. It is therefore not incumbent upon all of us to make comments over a matter that is still active before court. We want to respect the judiciary in our country, and let's not allow sentiments, emotions, feelings, bitterness, anger, resentment, remorsiveness to entangle and engulf our thinking faculties. May we recognize the authority in our country by respecting the authority of the court. And if at all we feel aggrieved, there is a proper channel in which we might launch that. And that being the case, may we not allow a case that was decided by the court to disturb the National Day of Prayer.
Advocates for National Development and Democracy President Samuel Banda says it is disappointed with the continued politicking of the National Day of Prayer and Fasting slated for Sunday this week. Mr. Banda says the day is non-partisan, urging Zambians to join in prayer and intercede for the nation. He says no political party owns the day, hence the need for Zambians to treat it as such. He further adds that it is high time that political stakeholders start preaching about peace and love and send good messages of governance to the people of Zambia through this day. Mr. Banda was speaking at a media briefing in Lusaka.
However, we find it extremely disappointing that some opposition political parties have highly attempted to brand this day as political, when actually this day must not be affiliated with any political party. As advocates for national development and democracy, we wish to call upon all political stakeholders to allow the will of God to prevail in this country by allowing their members to participate in the National Day of Prayer. It is high time that political stakeholders start preaching peace, love. It is high time that we start practicing politics of development, politics that adds value to our people. We are looking forward to a day when the ruling party and the opposition political party sit on the same table and share progressive governance ideas on how they can add value to the social and economic development of our country. We are looking forward to a day when we shall see Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, President of UPBEAT, and His Excellency Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu sit on the same table and share political and governance progressive ideas on how they can add value to our economic and social development of our country.
We now take a break, but still to come is international and sports news. Don't go away.
Take control of your tax planning. Avoid penalties and interest. Returns and payments due by the 10th of the month for declarations of the previous month's transactions are pay as you earn and skills development levy. Returns and payments due by the 14th of the month are turnover tax, withholding tax, mineral royalty tax, tourism levy, gaming and baiting, presumptive tax. Returns and payments for all withholding VAT agents is the 16th of the month. Returns and payments for all VAT registered suppliers is the 18th of the month. Submit the returns and make payments on or before the respective due dates to avoid penalties on the late submission of returns and payments of taxes. Further, note that VAT tax invoices for all business-to-business and business-to-government transactions must bear the tip-in of the buyer without fail. Zambia Revenue Authority. My tax, your tax, our destiny.
Stay home, stay safe. Times have changed. With the advent of the coronavirus, Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company would like to advise its esteemed customers to avoid visiting crowded places. You don't have to move to pay your water bill. You can do it in the convenience of your home. You can pay your water bills through Zanaco Zapit, Stanbic Bank, Standard Chartered Bank, and FNB. You can also use Airtel, MTN, and Zamtel Kwacha mobile money transfer services. For any inquiries to report a fault, please contact our customer service on +260 211 251 571, +260 975 618 618, and toll-free line 5957, Zamtel only. You can also simply email customerservice@lwsc.com. This public announcement is brought to you by the Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company. Water is life. Sanitation is health.
You're watching a live broadcast of Camnet TV's World News. We continue with the news in international. Large parts of South and Southeast Asia are struggling from floods brought on by heavy rains and storms. Close to 1 million people in the country are affected, and at least 36 people have so far died. In India, record rainfall in the southern state of Telangana has killed at least 15 people. It's part of a wider trend in South Asia, where more than 9.6 million people have been affected by severe flooding this year.
Hyderabad is drowning. The rain has been relentless in the South Indian city, and it's now claimed lives. In one deadly incident, floodwaters pushed a wall onto a house, which collapsed on impact. Other victims were swept away in raging currents. Rescue teams have been working day and night, but they can't get to everyone. Residents in some areas say they've had no help at all.
Around 500 to 2,000 houses were submerged in water since yesterday night, and nobody visited this place so far. People are suffering, kids are suffering, there is no food, no water, no milk, no facilities to go out.
Catastrophic scenes also in Cambodia. Deadly flash floods have hit the west of the country, prompting the evacuation of some 2,500 people. The military and police have been deployed to assist with the massive operation and hand out much-needed food to isolated communities. And this is the scene in neighbouring Vietnam, where flooding has claimed the most casualties in the last week. Up to 1 million people have been impacted by the floods, some 200,000 homes are underwater, and there are fears the death toll could rise after catastrophic landslides hit a mountainous area in central Vietnam. And there's no relief in sight. More bad weather is expected as Tropical Storm Nangka pummels the country, and aid groups say it could overwhelm even the most resilient communities.
And joining me for more is Hong Hak Nguyen, a program coordinator for the International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies in Bangkok in Thailand. Mr. Nguyen, welcome. What is the scale of the damage that we are seeing in Vietnam and Cambodia?
Yes, the tropical depressions have induced a significant and heavy rain in the past many days in Vietnam and Cambodia and Laos as well. So the floods has caused significant and serious damages to almost 100,000 households in several provinces of the central Vietnam. And it is also clear that close to 1 million people will be affected by these floods because of their homes are inundated in the water and their belongings are destroyed, and including their livelihoods. In Cambodia, according to the National Disaster Management Committee, that it is also having a serious issues and flooding, which is forced around 100,000 people has been also affected.
And still in international news, a 74-year-old Indian man who was mistakenly declared dead and put in a mortuary freezer in Tamil Nadu state has died days after being rescued. The man was declared dead on Monday after being taken to the hospital. He was placed in a freezer until the next day when undertakers who came to collect his body for the funeral saw he was shaking and realized he was still alive. He was then taken to a second hospital but lost his battle to live on Friday. We now get into sports news. In sports news, Zambia's senior women's national team coach Bruce MWAPE is upbeat about his team's chances at the 2020 COSAFA Championship to be staged in Port Elizabeth from November 4th to 16th. The Copper Queens will be heading to Nelson Mandela Bay in South Africa for the regional tournament, bubbling with confidence after their historic qualification to the rescheduled Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games. MWAPE places winning the COSAFA as key to boosting morale in the team. MWAPE has not ruled out the possibility of including China-based Copper Queens striker Barbara Banda and the other striker Rachel Kundananji, who both finished as top scorers in their respective leagues. The COSAFA Women's Championship has attracted 8 teams, which will be split into 2 groups of 4, and the draws for the tournament, slated to run from November 3rd to 14th, will be held on Tuesday, October 20th.
players that we caught, they are all fit, there are no injuries, and our plan now is to actually finish where we ended last week, because we did general fitness, and now we are going into specifics this week and next week. The other week it will just be fine-tuning. Barbara, in China, the league has actually ended, and if she comes in the next 1 week or so, we'll be able to look at her fitness. If need be, she will be included in the team that will go to South Africa. But even Kundananji, it's the same story. She might also join the team, but as far as COSAFA is concerned, it's normally the local players who actually participate in that tournament, being the champion, representing Africa in the Olympic qualifier. All our soccer fans, they are also expecting to start from a good note, that is by winning the COSAFA tournament.
That sports item brings us to the end of the news, but before we go, a recap of the headlines once again. Bill 10 debate postponed again without any reasons given. Police in Chinsali summon HH and Sesheke MP Romeo Kangombe. ECZ to set up close to 9,000 polling stations for mobile voter registration. And in international news, Indian man who was mistakenly declared dead died days after being put in a mortuary. And in sports news, MWAPE upbeat about 2020 COSAFA challenge. The Camnet TV World Verse of the Day is coming from the book of Exodus 15, verse 2, and it reads, "The Lord is my shepherd and song, and he has become my salvation. He is my God, and I will prepare him an habitation. My Father is God, and I will exalt him." On behalf of the entire news production crew and myself, Liseli Kanyanga, thank you so much for watching Camnet TV, not just another channel.